Spring is in the air, so it's time to do some spring projects and Easter crafts with Cricut. For this first project, all you need is some good quality cardstock in pastel colors. I picked up this design on Creative Fabrica, and it is for a tea light holder, but you could also use this as a little treat box for Easter treats or something along those lines. I measured my tea lights and decided to create a square to approximate how big they are. That way I could size the design down since this is a 3D paper project. So this is about the size of my tea light, and I'm going to resize my design to make sure it fits that. I'm going to change the color to a light pink just so that you can see the next step a little better. I added lines all along the places where I would need to crease the box to fold it. This is not absolutely necessary, but it's going to make the folding process a little easier. Once everything is set up, you'll want to select everything and click Attach to make sure that it scores and cuts together. I'm going to select medium cardstock for this project, and then I will insert my scoring tool to get started. Let me know down below which Cricut machine you have. I know not all machines have the scoring tool, but you can also choose a scoring stylus or skip that step altogether. After scoring, then it's just a matter of cutting out my design. Here's what the design looks like once it's cut out. I think this is precious, and it works not just for Easter, but really all spring season. So I'm going to start folding all of those score lines that the machine scored for us, and then we'll begin assembling our little 3D box. This is by far my favorite glue for paper. It's Barely Art glue. I'm going to link it down below along with all of the other supplies. It really helps secure paper without a lot of bulk and without ripping later. Here's our little Easter box, and as a reminder, I would only use LED lights with this, but you could also add some treats. For another cute Easter decor idea, we're going to make some bunny napkin rings. I cut out this simple bunny shape that you can get for free on my website. I will link that down below. And we're going to use some of this fabric that I cut into strips as a little ribbon. I'm going to start by inserting one end of the ribbon in the little bunny tail area, and then I'll make a knot. This gives a really cute effect, like it's the little tail of the bunny. So I'm just going to trim it down, and you can see here how cute that looks. And then I will feed the other end through the other hole near his neck. And what I'm going to do is put the napkin inside, and this makes a cute little napkin ring. And then you can tie a bow or make a knot. I've done it a few different ways at different times. Here I'm just going to make a little bow, and I'll secure it with some double-sided tape. Here's how it looks. I went with a neutral color scheme, but you could make these in any color you like with any ribbon you like as well. And it looks so pretty when you're setting a little Easter table or a spring brunch table. And here's another example with a more colorful bunny. We're going to do one more paper craft with these gorgeous sets of Easter patterned paper. You'll also want some thin ribbon because we're going to be making some Easter ornaments. I have these ornaments available in my shop, and I will put that in the video description below. After importing them, I ungrouped everything, and then I'm going to select the lines and choose Score again. After doing that, you'll want to select the shape and the line that goes with it and click Attach for each one. This is going to make sure that the score line and the cut is happening on the same shape. Then you'll duplicate each shape 16 times and go ahead and cut those out. To assemble the ornaments, you'll first fold along that score line and then add a line of glue in the center. I like to use these little clothespins just to make sure that the glue dries. You'll do that to all of the 16 shapes you cut out. Once that's dry, you'll apply a line of glue in the top third and bottom third of each ornament and then glue the shapes together. Continue until all of the 16 shapes are connected. Then you can use hot glue on the top of that spine to attach your ribbon to hang the ornament. To close the ornament, you can apply a line of glue again on the top third and bottom third, or you could use a paper clip to keep it closed. I like just using glue so that the ornament sticks together. And here's how our finished ornament looks, and I think these are just stunning. I actually wanted to go a step further and create a little Easter tree to hang these, so I grabbed a branch from my backyard and used a spray paint to give it some white texture. Then I just used floral foam to insert it into a small vase I had. I added some moss around the base to kind of give it more of a spring Easter feel. And then I just hung my Easter ornaments to enjoy in our dining room. For our next project, we're going to make a classic chocolate bunny. I don't know about you, but I loved getting this in my Easter basket as a kid, so I thought I would make one out of felt. So after importing my design, I went ahead and added an offset that I'm then going to unite just to give it kind of a thicker border to glue it together. You don't have to change the color, but I like it to be brown, so I remember later that I cut this out of brown felt. You'll want to cut 2 pieces, and for the material type, I have a special setting that I've just named Chrissy's Wool. The only thing that's different about this setting versus others is that it uses the rotary blade, and I find that the rotary blade is much better for cutting felt than the standard fine point blade. So that's just my personal preference, but I like using a strong grip mat, the purple mat, and a rotary blade anytime I cut thicker felt. So I've cut my 2 pieces, and then to glue them together, I'm just using hot glue. You, of course, could sew this by hand if you wanted, or even with a sewing machine, but of course, hot glue is quick and easy, and I definitely like that when crafting. You'll want to glue around the entire border of the bunny except for the bottom piece, and that's because we're going to fill it with a little fiberfill stuffing. You could also use cotton balls if that's what you have on hand, but I use this fiberfill for a lot of projects and it always comes in handy. Once your bunny is mostly full, you can then start gluing the bottom piece. I like to glue maybe 3/4 of it and then add as much stuffing as possible without making my bunny burst open, and then you can seal it shut. To add a finishing touch, I found this yellow ribbon that I tied around his neck into a little bow, and I think it looks so sweet. It really reminds me of the little chocolate bunnies from my Easter baskets as a child. I love the way he looks in my tiered tray along with the fabric carrots that I made, and I'll post a video for those as well. For this next project, I'll be using a wood block, and then I'm going to cut chipboard with my Cricut Maker 3. If you don't have that or this knife blade, you can always substitute cardstock or felt or another material. I'll also be using some vinyl in black and pink and some transfer tape as well as chalk paint. Here's the cute bunny face design I found in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to be cutting the ears out of chipboard, but I want the pink part to be drawn in pen because I'm going to paint that pink. And I'm going to go ahead and select the type of pen that I will be using for that. Then I'll select the combined bunny ears and click attach so those pieces will process together. I'm going to make these just a little bit larger to make sure they're sized well for my block. And I will select chipboard for the ears piece, but then we're going to cut the face part out of vinyl. So it's telling me to load my pen in clamp A, the knife blade in clamp B, and then I need to move the star wheels to avoid damaging the chipboard. I'm going to move my ears over just a little bit because you can see here I always tape down my chipboard to a strong grip mat. I'm inserting the knife blade and then I'll put my pen in and then we'll get started processing. Now you can see why I moved the bunny ears over because the tape sometimes pulls up some of that chipboard. Next, I'm going to cut the bunny face with smart vinyl, so I'm going to move those star wheels back, and then I'm going to replace that knife blade with my regular fine point blade. I'm going to repeat the process for my pink vinyl, and then we'll get started decorating this wood block. I added just a few coats of white chalk paint to give it more of an opaque look, and then I painted my bunny ears white on the outside and then pink on the inside. You can see how that line drawing really helps me define that border for the pink versus the white. As that paint is drying, we will go ahead and weed our bunny face here, and then once all of the pieces are removed, I will use some transfer tape to pick up the design and then transfer it to our wood block. And when doing a layered design like this, I start with the bigger piece and then attach the smaller piece like the nose later. The final step was just hot gluing those little bunny ears in back, but I felt like my bunny needed a little something more, so after gluing the ears on, I decided to cut a few felt flowers. And if you missed my Valentine's Day Cricut video, you can see more details about how to create felt flowers in that video. I'll try to post another tutorial, maybe just for felt flowers at some point in the future. Let me know what you think. I really like these felt flowers on the bunny. I think it gives her a lot more character, and she looks so adorable in my tiered tray. I found this gorgeous patterned vinyl in the sale bin at Michael's one day, so I knew it was going to be perfect for a spring project. I also picked up this tote bag at Target, and I'm going to be using my Easy Press 3 to do a little iron-on project. I found so many bunny designs in Cricut Design Space that I liked, but I wanted to kind of mix and match different ones. So I took this border and then added my favorite bunny inside, and then just resized it to fit my tote bag. Then I'm going to select both designs, click attach, and then I'm choosing patterned iron-on from my materials options. The software should automatically put mirror on, but don't forget to do that if it for some reason forgets. With patterned iron-on, you do want to make sure the pattern is facing down, and then you'll weed it just as you would any other iron-on vinyl. I pre-washed my tote bag before pressing this design, but you can decide if you want to do that or not. I will say this bag was a little rougher than a lot of the Cricut blanks, so my vinyl didn't apply as smoothly as other projects I've done, but I think it's still going to look very cute. I followed the directions in the Cricut Heat app and sent the settings to my Easy Press 3. Then it was just a matter of following all of the steps to press my design. Once my design was completely cool, I peeled back the carrier sheet to reveal a gorgeous spring design for my tote here. I think this would make a great Easter basket alternative, and it would make a great gift for any spring event or birthday. I picked up this clear tumbler at Joann one year, and I thought it'd be great with this color-changing vinyl. I'm going to be making a monogram design, and I liked this wildflower image that I found, so I'm just going to size it down, and then I'll head over to the monogram tool in Cricut Design Space. If you don't have access to this tool, you can always just type your letters and format the font. I like this elegant style, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to my canvas, and then we'll continue formatting the design. I want this wildflower image on both sides of my monogram, so I'm duplicating it, and then I'll just flip it vertically to have that design look like a mirror image. And then I'll just go through some formatting to make sure everything is aligned. And once that's all centered correctly, then I'm gonna hit attach to make sure that my monogram and my wildflowers cut on the same mat. I'm using Cricut's color changing vinyl, so I'll select that as my material and we will begin cutting. This vinyl weeds really easily. It's very similar to other vinyls that you might have used, so it's just a matter of getting rid of that excess vinyl, and then we'll use transfer tape to pick up our design. To prep the tumbler, I'm just using some rubbing alcohol to clean the surface, and then I'll gently peel back that liner of the transfer tape to apply our design. I always like using this scraper tool to make sure there are no air pockets, and once it's secured on the tumbler, we can peel back that carrier sheet. Now this may not look like anything special, but the real magic happens when you add cold water. You can see here in real time how quickly this vinyl changes colors. It is so cool, and I think this little tumbler would make the perfect addition to an Easter basket this year. My bundle of color changing vinyl came with heat activated and cold activated, so you could even do this with a mug as well. And when the tumbler cools down again, you can see how that vinyl changes back. Stickers seem to be all the rage these days, so I had to check out this waterproof holographic sticker set. I added several different designs from Cricut Design Space, and I will share this file with you in my Cricut Design Space profile. I changed the color scheme to make it more cohesive, and then I wanted to show you how best to format your stickers. I'm going to change the background to pink just to demonstrate, and here's one of the sticker designs. I'm selecting all of the elements here, and I'm just going to group them together to make it a little easier. Then I'm creating an offset. So in my edit menu, I'll add an offset of about 0.125 inches and then apply that. It's going to default to black, but I want to change that to white so that the sticker background will look white when it prints. And then I'm going to select that group of letters, or the whole group plus the offset, and I'm going to flatten my design. I tried the default sticker tool in Cricut Design Space and it did not work for me, so I highly suggest doing this method instead. Once everything is formatted, you'll hit Make and then Send to Printer. It's going to add these registration marks that help with print then cut projects. And I always use the system dialog box for my printer settings because under media and quality on my printer, I always select best quality. So whichever printer you have, you'll want to print at the highest quality setting. And here's how my sticker sheet turned out, but because these are holographic, I am first going to apply the holographic cover. So this is what it looks like. You can see the holographic shimmer. And this is the easiest way to apply your sheet. Trust me, after I tried and failed a couple of times. So I line up that holographic sheet with my printed sheet so that the edges on the bottom are aligned. Then you'll remove that strip that comes pre-cut and apply that down to the printed sheet. Now you can see I've got just that flap attached, and I'll use the scraper tool again to apply it just like I would transfer tape, but this prevents everything from shifting because I have my printed sheet on the mat already and I know everything is aligned. Make sure you select the holographic printable sticker set as your material, and the machine will read those registration marks in the corner and know exactly where to cut your stickers. You can see it did a die cut style of stickers where it cuts out the shape completely as opposed to a sticker sheet, which would be kiss cut. And this is what I wanted because I think these are perfect as little Easter egg fillers for an Easter egg hunt. They are the perfect size, and I think kids would be so excited to find these. In addition to candy maybe, but I don't know about you, I feel like we always have way too much Easter candy, so I'm always looking for other ways to fill our Easter eggs. I thought it would be fun to do another print then cut project. I found this egg design in Cricut Design Space, and I'm just cutting this out on plain cardstock because we're going to make a little shaker bookmark. Now this tool is my new favorite thing. You can use a plastic sleeve like I have here, and this burns the edges or seals the two sheets together to make a little enclosure here for our cutout. You'll just want to make sure you leave an opening at the top because we'll be filling it with this fun confetti to make a shaker bookmark. I think I got this confetti at Michael's, and it has so many different options that all coordinate together and look really cute with this colorful Easter egg. So once it's full, I will seal the top with this tool again and make sure that it's completely sealed around all of the edges. This punch is another new addition to my craft room. You can make a hole and then add a little eyelet like this, and you can get eyelets in lots of different colors. Then all you have to do is add a tassel to finish off your cute shaker bookmark, another great Easter basket stuffer. With all of these cute spring Cricut craft ideas, I wanted to leave you with some gift tags that you can use for friends and family. These are formatted for print then cut. I'm just creating a small offset around these so that I can do a double layered tag, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. Now that we've created the offset, I'm going to move the printed tags over, and then I'm going to change the offset from print then cut to basic cut because I'm going to be cutting these on cardstock. Then I'm going to change the color to pink just for my reference because I'll be cutting on pink cardstock. So this is a preview of what these gift tags are going to look like. And just as we did before, we're gonna send this to our printer using the highest quality settings. So I'm using the system dialog to change that setting to best. I went ahead and printed this on regular cardstock, and you can see that the Cricut cuts them out beautifully. Then I did the pink cardstock for the outer layer of the gift tags. For a little extra touch, you can add this distress ink around the edges. It just gives it more of a vintage vibe that I think is really charming. I did this both on the printed white tags and the outer pink tags. Then I used my favorite craft glue again to attach the 2 layers and my new punch to add an eyelet. I will put a link down in the description box again for details on how to get these tags, but please let me know which of these projects was your favorite. I'd love to hear from you, and click the video title if you need more details on any of the projects I shared today. I'll see you next time.